Morning, this is your final geography assignment for this term. You're going to be giving a little bit of extra time. It does say the 19th of June, and ideally we'd like you to get your work in by the 19th of June. But if you end up not being able to quite finish all of the tasks, because there's quite a few tasks in this week's lesson, then we will actually give you a final deadline of the Wednesday of the final week of term. But if you do get it finished by the 19th of June and hand it in, then that will be all of your work and we won't be looking for anything else. So it's entirely up to you whether you do this in one sitting, all of these tasks, or whether you break it down into a series of sessions, because there's a number of videos that we'd like you to watch and in today's lesson. And if you don't watch them, then you won't get the full learning that is going with the ideas we're introducing to you. Okay, now you can use this tutorial, this lesson introduction, and pause it at various points, or you can just watch it all the way through. And I'm only going to talk you through it quite quickly because you've got the main document that you can see on your screen here that's got all of those instructions written out, and I'm just going to walk you through them. All of the work should be completed in this document here. Which is titled, starts off with number 3, the role of the Earth, stretch, tilt, and wobble. And that's actually a continuation of assignment number 2, which you did last week, which was looking at, number 2 was ocean currents, and number 1 was volcanic activity. So we're just continuing with that idea at the start of today's lesson. Okay, so let's just have a little look at what you're being asked to do this week. You're going to be looking at 3 other factors four other factors that could explain climate change on our planet. Now, these are all physical factors. So we did number 1, which was volcanic eruptions, and number 2, which was ocean currents. You did them last week. So this week, you're starting with number 3, which is how does our orbit of our planet around the sun, as well as the fact that our planet is tilted slightly on an axis tilt, as well as the fact that the planet actually wobbles slightly as it goes around the sun. How do those 3 things combine to create climate changes? And I'd like you to read this a little bit here and then watch this video, which talks about those 3 factors, all of which contribute to climate changes. Once you've finished watching that video, reading this or watching that video, you've then got to answer a task, which I'm just going to show you. It's explain in detail how the Earth's orbit and tilt can cause climate changes. And there are 3 things actually. There's the wobble, the tilt, and the orbit. And these things actually change over long periods of time. And what you've got to do is, along with the video, I have given you a web link that does, if you scroll down, it's got a few key factors. Those 3 things are explained and kind of give you more depth of knowledge that goes alongside the video that you'll have just watched. So what you might want to do is pause at this point and complete that first exam question. And it is worth marks, so we will be looking for 3 explained statements. So we understand, you clearly understand how this factor influences climate change. One thing I would say is the thing you'll notice is that these things actually tend to cause climate cooling. These 3 things contribute to the ice ages that the planet experiences. So you can pause now and then, or you can keep watching, and it's entirely up to you how you use this main lesson video. Okay, now assuming you have paused, you are now going to go on to the next task, which has another video, and this time looks at the role of the sun. Okay, and you'll be completing this question, explain in detail how changes in solar activity cause climate changes. So this video talks a little bit about the role of the sun, just how important it is in maintaining the planet's temperature, and the fact that the sun does vary in its output. So sometimes the sun is giving out more, and that's what we call solar flaring, and other times it's quieter. And once you watch the video, once again, you do have on this web link, it's the same as the one above, some more information, and then you have to answer that question. Okay, so you can pause now if you want, and then answer that question, and then come back to this main lesson video. Okay, assuming you've paused, let's have a little look at the third task. Now, this one's a little bit more complex. You're using it to answer this question, which is explained in detail how plate tectonics can cause climate change. Now, you've actually done a little bit on plate tectonics already with volcanic activity, because volcanoes are caused by plate tectonics. But in this case, we're not thinking about volcanoes and earthquakes and that kind of plate tectonics. We're actually thinking about continental drift, which you studied in S2. So I'd like you to read this paragraph here. and then watch this video. Now, this video is on Planet eStream, which is the school's video library. So when you click on this link, you'll need to log in using your username and password. And it's a 2.5-minute video that explains the ocean current and how ocean currents get changed or were changed in the past by the movement of the continents. And if for whatever reason this video link doesn't work, and sometimes it depends on your broadband access, there is a web article on the formation of Central America. It's called the Panama Isthmus, and it was when North and South America joined together, and the ocean current that came from the Pacific stopped coming to the Atlantic because it couldn't, because there was this new area of land called Central America. So you need to watch the video, read this bit up here, use this website to explain how plate tectonics can cause climate changes. And this one's great. This one's actually really fascinating because this is why the last ice age, the one that we're sort of still technically in, was actually started. This is what happened, or what they think happened, that started the last ice age. And when I say last ice age, we've had many ice ages across the history of the planet, because the planet is very old. So the last one ended about 12,000 years ago. Right, moving on. Your next task is to read. Do a little bit of reading, okay? And then this video it's a great video. It brings all of the different natural reasons for the climate of the planet changing together, and it explores whether they help us understand whether the planet is actually warming. Do they tell us why the planet is warming? Okay. Once you've watched the video, you've then got this task that I'd like you to do, and I'd like you to answer it here. And what you're being asked to do is basically tell me or prove to me that it's not natural factors causing the planet to warm. Okay, there's 4 marks here. So I want you to present a range of evidence that proves that the natural or physical factors have got nothing to do with the current period of warming. And when I say the current period, I'm talking about the sudden acceleration in the planet warming since the 1980s, and how there's nothing in nature that really can explain that sudden surge in global temperatures. So watch that video. Most of your evidence will come from that video. So pay attention to what the presenter tells you. You can also, however, rely on all of the other factors that you've considered so far, whether it's volcanoes, whether it's the Earth's axis tilt and wobble, whether it's plate tectonics, solar activity, any of these kind of natural factors. Okay, so you might want to pause at this point and have a go at that answer. Okay, and lastly, this final thing to do with, we're now moving into human factors. So if I just scroll down, your last task, you need to watch this video, and we're just starting to think about, okay, if it's not nature, then it's got to be something to do with humans. So the first thing we have to understand is, when did it all begin? And this video starts to explore the issues of the Industrial Revolution. You'll be asked to describe a couple of graphs that shows that human activity is responsible, and you've just to describe those graphs. And you'll see that there are 2 questions. There's one to go with this graph here, and then at the end, there is a question that goes with this pie chart. So that little tutorial there, this final one, does actually talk you through how to answer those 2 questions. Okay, and that's the lesson for this week. This is your final lesson before the summer. You've got an official deadline of a week on Wednesday. Okay, so that would be, if we just count forward, 24th of June. But if you get it in by the 19th, that will be you done for your geography for this term, and we will revisit this topic and start looking at what human beings are doing to our planet and how it's affecting our planet after the summer holidays. Okay, so please hand in your work when completed, and ideally go for the 19th of June, but you do have to the following Wednesday, the 24th, if you need it.